Most people don't realize how much of their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making millions pulling details about you from public records and the internet, then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance, all backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might just sell credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/hidden. Protect yourself now at aura.com/hidden.
Owning a home is full of surprises. Some wonderful, some not so much. And when something breaks, it can feel like the whole day unravels. That's why HomeServe exists. For as little as $4.99 a month, you'll always have someone to call. A trusted professional ready to help, bringing peace of mind to 4.5 million homeowners nationwide. For plans starting at just $4.99 a month, go to homeserve.com. That's homeserve.com. Not available everywhere. Most plans range between $4.99 to $11.99 a month your first year. Terms apply on covered repairs.
It is just a gorgeous, it is a beautiful Midwestern evening as I'm about to record. This is Car Con Carne, the best music podcast in Chicago, according to the readers of the Chicago Reader in their Best of 2022 issue that came out just last month. I'm James Van Ostel, and before I bring on my guest for this episode, who, if you listen to or watch this show, you'll recognize his face or voice, or if you're a fan of punk rock, you'll recognize him, or if you're a fan of good music, if you're a fan of those who practice medicine, you'll recognize my next guest. But before we get there, Car Con Carne is sponsored by Suburban Roofing and Siding. Suburban Roofing and Siding is a family-owned company that provides interior and exterior home remodeling services, and they offer those services throughout the suburban and Chicagoland area. Their staff has more than 40 years of collective experience. They do everything: roofing, siding, windows, gutters. Maybe now's the time to take a look around the perimeter of your home and see what needs a little extra attention. You can call the friendly team at Suburban Roofing and Siding and get started today. Call the number 224-677-6149, 224-677-6149, or just visit them on the web, suburbanroofingandsiding.com, suburbanroofingandsiding.com. Car Con Carne, also sponsored by Easy Automation. If you're a homeowner, you're probably ready for a truly smart home. Doesn't the idea of minimizing your energy usage while maximizing your comfort sound good? Maybe you need help setting up a fully integrated security system, or perhaps it's finally time to find a better Wi-Fi network solution so you can spend more time streaming, gaming, or sitting during the day on Zoom or Teams calls while you work from home. Or if you're like me, you're probably ready to take the next step in controlling your home theater, your media room, whole home audio. Easy Automation will help you find the customized solution that's right for you. Their team has 30 years of collective experience in the industry and will tailor a service package that fits your lifestyle and needs. Get a quote, ask a question by visiting them on the web, easy-automation.net.
It's Car Con Carne. Let's eat in the car. It's Car Con Carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Ostel.
And let the record show, I recommended sandwiches at the beginning of this.
I thought they had a sandwich thing, but they didn't.
They have a sandwich. You could have done that in sandwich form.
I thought I ordered the sandwich.
Oh, I ordered the entree for you.
Oh, I did say entree. You said
Yeah.
the entree. I said, oh yeah, because it's got the rice. Well, you ordered the entree too.
Well, when in Rome or when in the Middle East.
Middle East. Look at this.
So it's going to be a little trickier to eat in the car.
It's okay. We have skills. We've done this before.
We do have skills. We've done this before. Welcome to Car Con Carne. I'm James Van Ostel. That man on my right, if you're watching, if you're watching, that man on my right is Dr. Daryl Wilson. He's the front man for the Bollweevils. I'm recording this on Wednesday, May 3rd. On Friday, May 5th, Bollweevils released their first original studio album in 50 years. It's called Essential.
Yes.
I mean, what was it, 95 for real? Like the last studio album?
Well, back
proper?
in 55 when I was, a young man. Yeah, so, 95 was Heavyweight. So that was the last proper LP release from Doctor Strange.
What's been going on since then? Anything?
No, nothing. We were, just hanging out. The pandemic happened. All kinds of things occurred. So, I mean, it was like there was a long period of time for us to get the right players together and really evolve into who we're supposed to be for this record.
Last time I interviewed you, we've talked a lot since, but last time I interviewed you, I think was at Riot Fest, and I think this album was on the way.
Yeah.
It was kind of on the launching pad, but it's finally here.
It is. We had a lot of things that were recorded, and we were still in the process of getting it mixed. You heard like some of the demo stuff. You heard it, and
which I thought sounded great.
Yes.
And then I heard the album,
and then and then you realized that stuff I sent to you was just kind of, it was okay, but it actually was good. It was really good. Mm-hmm. But the process of, one, having Jeff Dean kind of make us do things over and over again to make sure that it was done right.
Jeff Dean, mayor of Morton Grove.
Yes, in 10,000 Bands.
Mm-hmm.
And then also getting it mixed at the blasting room.
That's huge.
Was huge. That was a big hurdle initially that we didn't realize was in front of us that we had to jump over. And we had recorded it, we'd heard it, we'd been listening to it, and we're like, oh, this is good. And then through the suggestion of, Joe said, hey.
Joe is in Joe Principe of Rise Against?
Yes. He was like, hey, you should get this mixed at the blasting room. And that, as I've said in other interviews, like, hey, we don't have blasting room money to do that. So he's like, no, you should do it. But he never really said, hey, just do this. But, Toby and Brendan had said when they heard it. And they
hang on, you're dropping an awful lot of names. Toby Jegg, Red Scare.
Yes. Brendan Kelly. Lawrence
from
Arms.
Another Million Bands.
Yes, for Another Million Bands. From the Wandering Birds. So they had heard it and they said, we want to put the record out, but you need to get it remixed. And that initially was a bone of contention for some people in the band initially. But, we said, hey, we have this opportunity to work with Red Scare. Let's do this. And so send it to Chris Beeble at the blasting room. And when that came back, we were like, jaws dropped.
Uh-huh. Like, oh, that's why we do that.
That's what we're supposed to sound like. And as I've said in other interviews, that Chris Beeble will mix all of our stuff forever because he is an amazing.
Are you just going to quote yourself from previous interviews?
Well, if you're going to keep asking the same damn questions, I mean,
I didn't even ask you a question. You just started talking.
Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe I just have the. I'm like, this is an AI written thing. I'm sorry.
Daryl, as I said when I interviewed Rise Against,
you mean listen. You've seen the movie Demon Seed.
Of course.
So I'm an AI. I was born of that. I mean, you said, it's...
So we're at the Pita Inn in Naperville. The Pita Inn is really awesome, cheap Middle Eastern food.
Yes.
I know they've got a place in Mundelein, a place maybe in Glenview. They've got a place in Skokie. We're at the one in Naperville.
Yes.
You have vegetarian kefta kebab.
Yes, I do. Should I show this? Should I?
Yeah, here.
Break out the... Yeah. Look at that.
Yeah, it smells great. Like, when you walk into this place, it smells really good. It smells almost like...
a big bite out of this.
Look at that. Close up of Daryl eating food.
That's good.
I got the chicken shawarma. I'm a fan.
This is good.
Any food that's in a natural shade of yellow is something I'm into. Yeah.
Bananas.
The challenge...
Wash.
The challenge in interviewing you, Daryl, we are friends at IRL.
Yes.
Which is in real life.
It is. We are not.
So there's always a temptation when we talk
to go off on these things.
To not actually talk about business things and, talk about the Legion of Superheroes and Could Wildfire take Monel? I don't know. We're not going to do that. Because, again, Essential, the new Bollweevils album, comes out on Friday the 5th. It seems only appropriate to talk about the album.
Yes.
This is our chance.
I'm going to keep it straight.
It's been 50 years since you put out a new album. Let's not waste the opportunity, and let's actually talk about what's...
I'm on my deathbed. 50 years of this. It's like, my God.
You mentioned Red Scare. Mm-hmm. I want to share something with you. I don't know if you saw this. I don't know if you wrote this. I don't know if you signed off on this. In the description of the band and the record, it says, leading the way is Dr. Daryl Wilson. That's you.
That's me.
The most ostentatious Afro-punk frontman in the Midwest. I don't think ostentatious means what Red Scare thinks it means.
I think they meant to say magnanimous.
I'm guessing the word they were going for is...
magnificent.
I'm thinking audacious.
Audacious, maybe.
Ostentatious.
Bodacious. Outrageous.
Ostentatious means pretentious.
That could be partially true.
No. No.
You know what? Here's the thing. Someone out there, maybe 2 or 3 people, probably believe that, and it's true.
Ostentatious.
Listen, there's a little pretense in my...
There's nothing showy about you. Usually you're wearing a Descendants t-shirt. Your 2 modes are Descendants t-shirt and medical scrubs.
Right. You're right. You've seen me. You know exactly. I only own those outfits. That's all I have. So that's about it. And most people would agree with you because that's all they've seen me in. So I'm wearing Riverville Gamblers today. So
mixing it up.
I'm mixing it up. I got the other hoodie. The other hoodie that I have. If you want to send me hoodies, send them to my.
Hoodies are the best.
They are.
You can never have enough.
No, I've been told I have too many, but I only wear 2. So
I've been told the same thing. With my chicken shawarma, I'm having tamarind juice.
Oh, I'm having a fruit punch, which is...
I don't think it's possible for this to be any more sugary, and I'm not complaining. It's delightful.
Add the fruit punch to it, and you'll really be... you'll have instant diabetes right there. That's what's going to happen to you.
Let's talk about the album title, because when I first saw it, I thought, oh, that's clever. It's kind of like you see all those greatest hits collections, Essential Foo Fighters, Essential Johnny Cash. But then I realized it was a totally different approach.
Yes. Because the initial, thought process on what the record would be called, we'd gone through different iterations of what we thought, was maybe, old men still doing it, something like that in that sense. And it was like, no. That was too ostentatious. So from the standpoint of Essential, the Essential idea came out, we'd been, getting this together during the pandemic, and being someone who worked on the front lines, and, Ken being a principal at the time and a teacher, Pete working as a lineman, and then Pete working also with students as well at the college. It's like thinking of the all of us have this essential role that you're playing. But then kind of the meta of that comes out of that despite these, roles that we play in the world being, quote, essential to kind of keep things rolling, we realize that all of us were kind of essential, right? Mm-hmm. That we all have this role to play in keeping all of us as a community, as a world, kind of functioning. And that's kind of where that came out of it. And then the artwork kind of melded into that with, Benoit doing the artwork and having that wheel with the spokes of the wheel being all the arms of individuals holding it together and allowing the city, the world, everything to move. And so that's how that kind of grew. And we did have the question whether or not, would it be considered that, okay, it's essential? Is it like the Bollweevils essential songs? Well, right now they're the essential ones, but is it going to be like a compilation thing? No, it's all new stuff. So that's kind of where that grew. And I think it fits. I think it fits well for the time that we came out of, and our belief in how we all together are essential for each other to keep things moving.
Whose idea was the name?
Mine.
It's a great idea. Let's go song by song. I've never had the chance to do this with you, because again, 50 years in between records. Do you mind? Can we do that?
Yeah, we can. Can we go? Can we make this last 50 years when we do that song? Can we do one song Actually, no. Let's do the math here. I can't do the math right now.
No.
I'm not ostentatious enough to do the math.
Leading the way is Dr. Daryl Wilson, the most ostentatious Afro-punk frontman in the Who's the second most ostentatious Afro-punk frontman in the Midwest?
Let's see.
Right.
Yeah.
Ostentatious, just yeah.
I'm the only ostentatious one because I'm that, pretentious.
Let's go song by song, starting with Predisposition, a song that's a couple years old.
Yes. Yes, it is.
How does it feel to be alone?
That song, the way that hits, it comes off as like this punch.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, it's a great first track.
Yes. It's kind of like how you go back to Stick Your Neck Out and you have Bottomless Pit, right? But that song in comparison, which we'll get to that one too,
Mm-hmm.
With Predisposition, that grew out of the way the song was when Ken was playing the riff and just putting it together in rehearsal. It's an angry song, right? And the anger that I have in regard to how is there this belief that we are destined to be hateful, right? And it's this whole thing. Are we preordained to do this? Are we predestined to be, this hateful group of individuals? And I don't believe that. And so it's kind of looking at if you walk that path, you do end up being pretty desperately alone because we're not meant as human beings to not work together. We've always through antiquity had to work as units to survive because nature, the universe, does not care about us. It does not care about us as individuals, and we will be left basically destitute, destroyed, gone. But together as a collective group of people, as a community, we've been able to build a civilization, to survive the elements, to go to the stars. That's because of us together. And we're not preordained to be against each other. We're preordained to work together. That's why we've strived and gone so far. And as individuals keep trying to see things through that lens, it's like you got to look at it differently. We do get painted with these, strokes over time that make us look at other people and go, oh my God, you're going to take all my resources, which in fact, there's an abundance of resources. They're not going to go away, but we keep believing that because we keep looking at it through the wrong lens. So you have to be able to change your vision and say, hold on a second, what's the truth here? This isn't the way I have to be, and we can move forward. So we're not our predisposition is not to be that way, I don't think.
I feel like after hearing what you just said, more people need to listen to the Bollweevils. I think we could all come closer together as a society, as communities.
I would hope so. I would hope so.
Galt's Gulch.
Yes.
I have a feeling this is the one, when people hear the full record starting on Friday, this is the one they're going to talk about because of that acoustic intro.
Yes.
This is the one that kind of surprises people.
It does. But it lures you in and you're like, whoa, this is something. This is a different take on things. This is a level of maturity that they've not shown, but we have shown. We've grown into this. It's been 50 years, right?
And to be fair, the acoustic intro doesn't last that long.
No, but it's long enough for one of our songs. That's for us. That's an eternity. But it does. It lures you in, and then it builds, and it keeps on building, and then you get to the meat, and you're like, wow, what a great intro. What a great way to start this off, and and then the song itself is an interesting take on the idea of objectivism and how that
I've never read an Ayn Rand book.
Yeah, fiction is fiction, so it's good to read things so you understand where they are.
I read books based on weight. Those were too heavy.
They are heavy, but it's like all around to say I don't care about your issues. Pick yourself up. Who's John Galt? I'm just going to shrug my shoulders and let the world collapse. Because you guys can't get it together. It's like, well, we're supposed to be together. And yeah, I get the idea that you can't have somebody say, hey, I'm not performing as well, so you slow down what you're doing. It's like, no, that's not going to happen, but you should also look at people and say, well, here's a standard that you could meet, and here's how you do it, and hopefully you can do it. And if you don't on your own make it, okay, that's on you. I can't slow down because you want me to slow down, but at the same time, you also can't just stiff arm a person and say, F off. That doesn't work. So, if you're putting a hand out, it's a hand up. It's not an out. Put it out to lift somebody up. You don't do it to kind of sustain you all the time. So, it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing. The who's John Galt thing is, just like somebody shaking their head and going, I can't do anything because I'm not listening to what you have to say. It's an interesting song, and it's all because of my love of reading a whole bunch of crazy stuff besides comic books, and then going like, wow, this has been told I should read this. Read both the Fountainhead and that show, but okay, I read them, and it's like, oh, that's not going to work. That's not going to work.
I have a theory, and you may disagree. I feel like people are reading less than they ever have in their entire lives. And the reason why I say that is because whenever you look at social media, or especially memes, no one knows how to spell anything. Everything you see on social media is spelled phonetically, and I see it on professional brand websites too. Like, people just write what they hear, and it's like they've never seen the words in print.
Do you think, though, that there's also not a push to actually correct spelling? Like, I mean, we had to go through rote things of spelling out words, and I'm making my kids do that now because I see them doing the same thing, and it's like, whoa, you're in third grade, you can't spell that word. I mean, I have bad spelling, don't get me wrong, and spelling does not correlate to intelligence, by the way, but I'll tell you, it's like you have tools that can help you to spell the words. You do have spell check, right? I mean,
well, homophones are where people get tripped up.
Well, here's the thing. Are you going to have to write anything anymore because of AI? Come on.
Don't. Stop.
Come on. The demon seed has been born.
Are you already talking in the medical profession about how AI will sneak into that industry?
It's everywhere, right? I mean, it's a tool to help you have decision making in some sense. You still have to have an individual who has to look at the individual as well and help make decisions with data that's provided to you. And also, too, procedurally, things that have to be done procedurally would be difficult to perform by some AI. It can't do that, right? It doesn't have the manual dexterity to do those things. But, I mean, when it comes to the ability to understand drug-drug interactions and, looking at signs and symptoms and helping individuals to have a differential diagnosis made up from those things, because those things are definitely going to be important aspects of the future of healthcare. The thing that's really, interesting is the ability for images to be recognized by, AI. So if you can go through and recognize images, think about how pathology would change. If you had a pathologist looking at slides and seeing, the histology of something and going, the pattern shows this, or looking at radiologic things, looking at, film and saying, okay, this is what this actually shows because it's read so many films over time.
That is interesting.
That's the stuff you're going to be seeing. Like, wow, that's going to make these leaps and bound changes in healthcare in the beginning. Procedural things, it would take a long time for that to actually occur. But I mean, if you're looking at something where you're looking at films or looking at slides, who knows? Or laboratory results and things. It's all, who knows? I'm just going to live my life every day and be nice to the, AI. When Skynet takes over, everybody says Skynet all the time. Can you pick another AI?
Right.
Dystopia thing. What's another AI dystopia we can pick?
We'll come back to that. Disrespected Peggy Sue.
Yes.
The reinvented, disrespected Peggy Sue. Doesn't sound a thing like Buddy Holly.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I come home drunk and then I want to hold you close to me.
It's,
Is this an autobiographical Daryl Wilson song?
No, it's not. No. It's written from the perspective of a person who doesn't know how to express their feelings to a person. It's like that's everybody. Not everybody. Many people have found it difficult to really show affection or show how they feel about someone they care about, and sometimes they have to go and lower inhibitions by either drinking or wandering around and being somewhat emotional about it, to come home and suddenly have true emotion that's shown, when in fact it seems like it's false because it's only built up on this, this house of cards that's built because of your inhibitions are dropped. And I mean, it's just this whole thing of this. When I wrote the song initially, way back when I wrote the lyrics, I envisioned this kind of weird stereotypical, truck driver just out on the road and driving around, not knowing how to come back to his lady and tell her how much I love you, and just not having those emotions that were actually taught to them as a child, because their parent always said, you have to be an emotional person. That's not the way you're supposed to be with your Y chromosome. You're not supposed to be emotional. And so, I know I'm being really, really ridiculous. Ostentatious maybe. So, so the song is that imagining of this person who's kind of shut off emotionally, but knows that they feel something for this person, and they just don't know how to do it.
You're packing a lot into these 2-minute songs.
We try to. I mean, but it's like you don't got to do it more than 2.5 minutes. I mean, you can put a lot into these things if you really, really want to, and it's all about emotions. That's all music's about, is emotion. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was the re-recording of the previous version, but done with who we have evolved into today. But one of my favorite songs to perform live, I'll tell you. I love performing that song live.
We talked about Predisposition as the opener, and as a song that just kind of grabs you by the neck. That's, to me, what Honesty does.
Yes. So that one, too, that's been around. So that was on the, 7-inch that was out on Underground Communique, the Attack Scene 7-inch. And so we of course had to put on the LP, mm-hmm. and Pete Mittler's been involved. He's in the band. He's our bass player, and so we had to re-record it with him, of course, to have the album version of it, the LP version of it. And with that too, the evolution of the harmonies in it as well, and the growth of that song.
And the breakdown in it is perfect.
Yes. It is that is a fun, song to play, and the recording of it was fun too, and having the evolution from the 7-inch to the LP version and how it grew over time. Like the whole thing with this album, all these songs have kind of evolved over the 50 years of us getting it together. So
it's like going from Evil Dead to Evil Dead 2.
Yeah, it is. You know what, that's a great analogy. I agree. I'll swallow your soul, I swear. So that's really good. Yeah, why do we do this to each other all the time? You're so ostentatious.
Can you spell ostentatious?
No, I'm not that ostentatious. I wouldn't do that in front of all of you.
We're learning a lot on this show.
It's the Reading Rainbow right now.
It is. Let's move on to the cutting solution. Again, the new album is Essential, available far and wide on Friday the 5th on vinyl, which is really, you get it on vinyl so you have something to... The artwork's great. Just have something to hold and treasure and cherish. The cutting solution is some heavy shit.
Yes. Yeah. That grew out of... And that's one of the last songs we wrote for the record. Actually, besides Hourglass, and we'll get to that one. But
I can't wait to get to that one.
Yes, that's a great song. All of them are great songs, by the way. So the cutting solution, that was written because of while working during the pandemic, and just working in general in the emergency department, just seeing the rise in mental health emergencies, and it's really, really, really just hurtful to see.
I mean, can you put it in percentages? Like how big of an uptick are we talking?
God, I mean, you see like a if you had calls before that were, you'd get like, in EMS calls would be, like 20 to 30 calls in a time frame. Then it's up to like, 1,000 calls. I mean, it's crazy. It's just that you're finding that there's more individuals spanning ages that can go as low as 6 years old, and up, and of course to the elderly, mm-hmm. that are struggling, and it's this oppressive feeling that almost makes you feel like there's doom when you know there's not. You know that there's brighter, horizons, but to get there, you're really climbing through this dark hole. And it's sad to see that it's increased. And I don't think that you can blame just the pandemic alone to say that's what did it.
It was an accelerant.
Yes, it was an accelerant, exactly. There was the frog was boiling all along in the water. And so right now, the ability for individuals to seek mental health care, in some places you have resources beyond anything, but other places don't. And, sometimes the follow-up for individuals or the continued follow-through for the care is sporadic, and, or people are stigmatized to feel like they can't seek care, or individuals don't know what to do, and like kids who are understanding what they're feeling, and then parents not being able to either one, acknowledge it because of their fears associated with it, is just tragic. So I was at a meeting the other day, and this was brought up, and I agree with this 1,000%. I never thought about it until this came up. We find that individuals are, as a community, are always able to rally around individuals when they find out they have a diagnosis like cancer.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, they start cutting lawns, they start bringing the food over, all those things to rally around an individual when they find they have a diagnosis of cancer. But if a person has a mental health disorder or substance abuse disorder, suddenly they become shunned. These pariahs, that it's almost like an avoidance where you believe it's going to be catching in some way. And that, to me, is one of those things that worsens the situation where, you have people who already feel at their lowest, and then suddenly they're stigmatized even more so because they're ostracized from the community in some sense. And people find that they have no recourse. So what do they resort to? They find their own solutions. And it's like cutting. It's like, it's all these things that make individuals feel I'm releasing this pain and sorrow that can then lead to even further, issues. So that came out of this, the seeing this firsthand, the continued, march towards this psychiatric apocalypse, which I wish wishing doesn't change anything, but looking at, people giving lip service to funding for these things. We got to fund, psychiatric care. You have to make sure that people feel less stigmatized to get resources, that resources are available to individuals. That's what I think is a part of the solutions to things. But a lot of people will give lip service to it and say, this is what sounds great, but nobody seems to want to jump in. I mean, I'm involved in some things that are trying to help to make some better solutions for things, I hope. Part of me releasing my own frustrations is writing a song. It's not going to change the world, but it at least helps to help me feel something different.
One of the things I talk about with musicians on the show is that album sequencing is kind of a lost art, and when it's done well, it really stands out. Coming out of that song, there was only one way you could go for balance, and that's the theme, the Bollweevils theme.
Yes.
Bollweevils, Bollweevils. Now,
that too is one of those things. It's so fun. It's the whole earworm stuff. You write songs because you enjoy them. You write songs because they're fun, and that kind of came out of a joke, almost at practice, where we were messing around, and I was like, hey, we should write a song that incorporates a dance in it somehow. It's like, why can't we write an electric slide or like a Macarena or something? And so we started messing around, and I was doing this spastic punches and kicks and stuff to make the dance, which I've never done at a show, and I'm not going to do it. So don't ask. And if you do, I'm going to kick you out, because I'm that ostentatious. So the song came out of that whole dance thing, and initially it was like we were we were told that we were never going to do that song ever.
This is your Banana Split song.
Well, then we had some changes to the lineup, and as soon as that occurred, we're like, we're definitely doing that song. So we did, and that was on the 7-inch from the Attack Scene 7-inch, and of course we had to get it for the LP version of it, and get Mittler on there. And it's one of the fun songs. We love playing it. It's just fun.
It's a blast.
People sing. It is a blast. It is a blast.
Bollweevils,
Bollweevils. When you go out to a show and you see someone look them in the eyes, because we're the Bollweevils.
I like the spoken word version.
I will be I'll be appearing at the hotel over there at the
Embassy Suites, which I believe they're probably having happy hour right now.
Probably.
That's the Embassy Suites difference. You can drink like well drinks for free for like 2 hours.
Yeah, you can get those like that the trail mix thing too as well.
Exactly. I want to get to what has become. I mean, there are a lot of Bollweevil songs I like. There are a lot of Bollweevil songs that I like on this album. Essential, out Friday the 5th. Hourglass.
Yes.
This is the one that has stayed with me the most, even more than Bollweevils.
Wow. I like
and it's a lot of things. The guitar lick, almost to me, sounds like an emergency vehicle siren.
Almost. Yeah, I could agree with that. It's I guess a call to understanding that you don't waste your time is kind of what it is. I mean, the play on words.
One day we'll die just like everyone else.
Yes, we will.
That's the red thread, I think, between these songs.
Yes, and it is. It's the thing that is, about that song. That was the last one written for the record, by the way. And Ken brought it, and we were like, okay, we were trying to figure out where it was going, and I singing it at first, I was doing something completely different, and I remember Mumford was like, hey, you got to sing that differently. You got to do something different with your vocal line. And I kept struggling with it for a while. And, there's some certain, my worldview on things, my view on stuff is understanding that, I can only control me and I can't control anything else going around me. Like I said, the universe is uncaring. And we get caught up in so much stuff that doesn't really matter. And we think that we have all this time in the world when you really, the only time you have is the moment that you are in right now, because nothing is guaranteed beyond that. Mm-hmm. And so we spend all this time trying to capture things that are broken all the time. You buy a phone and it's gonna break. It's already broken when you buy it, and you worry about it so much. You worry about, where is it, and is it covered? Is it protected? You buy a television, you think, this TV's great, but you buy it, it's already defunct, it's already decayed, it's already full of entropy, and none of that stuff's going to matter. None of these material things are going to matter to you. The things that matter the most are the experiences that you have, the people that you experience them with. Because when you die...
So this matters the most.
It does. No, it really does. I'm serious, James. I told you that before. It really does. Because when you die, do you care about all those things? Do those things matter anymore? You can't take them with you. All you can take are the memories that you have before you go, before they become ether, which they will too. They will evaporate, but those are the only things that are real.
This sounds... I don't know much about philosophy, Daryl. This sounds very existential.
More stoic, I think, in some sense. In some sense. We talked about this before, and I think coming out of the pandemic and understanding, initially when we had this novel virus and the concerns with risk of exposure and risk of, severe illness and death, which you had to face every day. Mm-hmm. It's like you leave the house and go, well, what's going to happen? You didn't know. As we've grown more and we've gotten more, we came out of this great, we did pretty good. Besides the millions of people that died. So, but we're all going to die, right? We're all going to die. We don't know when our number is going to come up, and you just have to make sure you spend moments and make sure the moment that you're spending is worth your time. Mm-hmm. Because the time is completely a false narrative. The time that you have isn't real. So if you're going to do something, make sure that you've thought about it and said, this is important to me right now because this may be the last thing I get to do.
And this is something that takes years to figure out.
It does. Because you know what? I would say it's all about priorities, right? I didn't have priorities always put in the right order all the time. And that's where you suddenly have to have this epiphany and go, holy crap, what the hell are you doing right now? Like, what is it that you find to be truly important? And when you're asked to do something, you have to kind of do that mental check to go, is this thing you're asking me to do, is it really that important? Do I really got to get that worked up about it? And I don't think people do that. And that's where you run into these anxieties about things that really don't have to be there. When you just suddenly look at it and go, I don't have to do that. I'm choosing. If you choose to do what you're doing, by all means, make sure that you realize it's a true priority for you.
I love it. Talking about getting a lot done in a couple minutes, resistance gets that done.
Yes. Yeah. That's, also looking at what we came through with everybody, finding something that they had to almost rally against. It's not like a specific thing. It's just a matter of no one really wants to have something lording over them, right? Mm-hmm. That the authority over you is really your own authority in some sense, and everything else around you doesn't matter, because you can't control it. You can't control outside forces. You just can't. No matter how much you think you can, no matter how much you think you're that important that you can make things happen, you cannot make the universe turn. It turns because it just turns. And, things happen that are bad because they just happen because they're bad. It's not because you're some special thing picked out that suddenly something bad happened to you because you are that important. We're really not. None of us are. And so, but we resist that understanding. But then again, resistance also comes in the sense of fighting against forces that do try to control from the outside. And that's that whole thing that builds and makes, a conflagration. It burns something up and it turns into something different. It turns into ash, and then you can do something new with it in some sense. So resistance is that kind of a generalized resistance song. It's so, cliche in some sense, but I think it just hits.
And that's one of the 5 core values of punk rock.
Yes. And you rally, and it's something you rally about. It's like, what is it that you find that is sparking you to do something? Resistance is sparking something. What do you need to rally against? What is it that is coming at you that you need to suddenly spark something to make you go, no, this is where I say no?
So the last time I saw you in person was at Metro.
Yeah.
Bollweevils opened up for Rise Against.
Great show, top to bottom. We got a Daryl Wilson stage dive. We did.
Which was telegraphed.
We live in a different time.
Hey, you want to make sure.
Listen, you have to grow with things. I mean, there's a matter of consent that has to be obtained, because, listen, if I take my 225 6 4.5 frame and just leap onto a bunch of unsuspecting human beings, that is going to cause problems.
Yeah.
And so I'm not that ostentatious to believe that I would, just not ask someone's permission to do that. So I took it upon myself to truly ask permission of those that were out there. Did I get consent to jump onto you? Because jumping onto somebody without consent is definitely a problem.
So we got a stage dive that night. You know what we didn't get?
What didn't you get?
Liniment and tonic.
There were a lot of things that people didn't get because we only had a half an hour to do what we did. And the problem is, as you probably all know, I'm quite verbose, which is problematic. So it cut into our time. And so it was my fault.
Was that supposed to be the closing song?
It was.
Okay.
It was. So did I give you a set list? Did you get a set list? Oh, geez, I can get it to you. We had to cut a couple of songs. There were like 3 songs that got cut out of the set list because of my gift for gab.
You're garrulous.
I am. And you know what's funny about that is we talked about that. We talked about, hey, we should just play and not say anything. It's like, but that's not us. We have to have that. That's not me. There's interaction. I mean, the whole thing about playing a show is having that connection to the people in the audience. That's what it is. And that connection comes through the oration. It comes through the music. It comes through the physical contact. It comes through all those things. And we love that. That's that whole call and response. It's the whole back and forth. And it builds energy. And if you don't have that, it kind of just like, ugh. I'd rather play a shorter set and have that interaction where you really get a response from the crowd versus getting through all of our songs and then being like, okay, we're done. You leave them wanting more, right? Leave them wanting more.
Showbiz 101. What was interesting, not even interesting about that show, I mean, you have to assume a lot of that people in the room were there strictly for Rides Against. They didn't know the Bollweevils. Maybe they knew the name. Maybe they did some homework before they went to the show. But that wasn't necessarily a Bollweevils crowd. It was Rides Against.
No.
They loved you.
Yeah, the response was great.
That was great.
Yeah, it was like, we walked up the stage and I think Ken and Pete were like, well, yeah, that was unexpected. It's like, well, I mean, but why not though?
Yeah.
That's the thing. Why not expect that? It's like that's, you go out there and you do your best. You give them the best that you can give, and people will love it or not. And it's like, I'm glad that people enjoyed it. We enjoyed it. And that's the thing. I think a lot of what happens with any performance is if you see the performer enjoying themselves, that builds. You're like, this is enjoyable. If you see somebody up there who's just like going through the motions and doesn't really put the effort out, then of course you're not going to enjoy
That's
it.
what I tried to tell our friend Dennis Buckley about House of Love. They could not have looked more bored on stage at Lincoln Hall.
And you can perform something flawless, right? But if there's nothing behind it, there's not this emotional connection. I mean, like I said, music's emotion, and it's a connection that you're trying to build with everybody. And if you're showing what you really are feeling, then people are going to feel that, which I think is the best thing. And we had that opportunity, and it was enjoyable. I mean, we got to play with our friends. We got to play at the Metro, greatest venue on the planet. My family was there. It was just everything you could ask for.
It was a magical night.
It was a magical night. It was a magical night.
All right, so Lindemann and Tonic. I talked about album sequencing. What is this song doing at the end of the album? This is such an obvious hit song, smash Bollweevils song. What's this doing at track number 15 or whatever it is?
Toby sequenced the record. No, actually, it was part. No, that's a cop out. We thought about that too, and the record sequencing is about really much the same. I mean, there were a couple songs that moved some positions, but most of them stayed in the same position. And you're right. I mean, it is what it is, James. So what does it make you not like the record?
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. It's just
I'm ostentatious.
It's a non-traditional move to put.
I keep using
put one of your strongest ear candy songs at the end of the album.
Well, you got to go through the whole meal to get to the dessert.
That's it. It's like key lime pie.
It is like key lime pie or sweet potato pie or whatever pie you want. It's pie at the end.
This is no exaggeration. I'm not saying this as a Bollweevils fan. I'm not saying this as a friend of Daryl Wilson. That song has never left my head.
It is the most earworm of earworms. It is like that thing they put into whose ear in Star Trek did they put that thing? The content.
Was it Chekhov?
Chekhov's ear, right? It's a Chekhov worm.
My back is broken. I'm drinking Lindemann and Tonic again.
It is. That is one of those things. We wrote it, and it's like it sticks. It sticks. It sticks, and it's fun. And it's like it is a fun tune. As my wife said, that's a jaunty tune.
It is jaunty.
And I knew there's something about that when suddenly my kid, when we wrote it, my youngest was probably 6 or 5, and it's like she knew all the lyrics, and I'm like, well, these lyrics aren't necessarily for you, but it's like, but she knew.
Well, there's counting in the song. There's a 1, 2, 3, 4. That's good for kids.
It was definitely the count was involved. Little bit of tonic. Big bird, drink this. It's like
that is a favorite. It's a crowd pleaser. It's an earworm. It has not left my head. I paraphrase it to you just because.
Yes, because you like to do that, and I like to laugh about those things.
When we decided on Pita Inn, I think I said my back is broken. I'm eating falafel and hummus again.
Yes, and we don't have hummus.
We don't have. We got rooked.
We did get rooked.
I haven't used that term since like junior high.
But you know what? We're bringing
Does
it
it
back.
still work?
I think it works.
We got rooked.
We did get taken.
Is that okay? That's not offensive? That's...
No. I mean, I don't have any chess players out there really pissed off about this right now.
Is that where... Yeah, I guess it's from chess. We used to say that when we were kids.
I mean, you could say a lot of
I don't know
things.
where I pulled that from.
From your chess days when you were actually one of the chess masters.
I am no good at chess. Speaking of chess, you and I are overdue for a game night.
Yes. Yeah, I got new games. Oh, my God. There's so much stuff.
We are long overdue.
You're right in the neighborhood.
I came to you on this one.
Right, you did come to me on this one. You did. I appreciate you on this. I really do.
I want to be clear. Going to Naperville during rush hour
is really crappy.
That is
pretty bad.
I went through all the stages of grief. There was denial, anger.
You're like, why am I doing this? I gotta talk to Daryl. We're not gonna even get through anything. We're just gonna be. See, but no, it happened. You're here, and now how do you feel?
Well, by the time I got to 88, I hit acceptance. I'm just like, okay.
But the moment's now shared. You're like, listen, we're here.
We're here. This is great.
And we got,
Oh, this is a highlight of my week, Daryl. I love hanging out with you.
I love hanging out with you too. When I called you and said, hey, by the way, and you're like, called me back and said, yeah, we got to do this. I'm like, let's come out Wednesday. Let's do it. And you're like, yep. No.
Well, it's funny because we talked about doing this around Essential, again, the new Bollweevils album, which is available on the 5th of May. I'm so used to doing these with you without any kind of pressing time concerns.
Right.
Like nothing urgent to promote. I'm like, oh shit, we got to get this done.
I know. That's the funny thing about it. I'm thinking, well, it's like, oh, James and I'll get together and do this thing. It's like, yeah, we'll get together. Then you got all kinds of things going on. And I'm like, okay. Then I'm thinking, let me reach out to you and say, hey, are we doing this? Yeah, let's do it. And they're like, oh, what day? I'm like, I'm working. I can't do that. And finally, it's like, you reach back out. Because I was like, maybe we'll do it afterwards. But no. You're like, hey.
Stars aligned.
Yes, stars aligned. It's like, there you go. It's like the hump day. We get out there, the hump day.
It's hump day. So again, the new album is Essential. Truly.
It is Essential.
It's not just a name. It's Essential. It's the new Bollweevils album. The first studio album we got from them since the Rat Pack days, really.
Yeah, since way back in the, back when I had to actually go through the back door. I couldn't come in the front way.
Oh, shit.
Was that too much? You know what? It's like, how freaking, what the hell? That wasn't ostentatious.
No.
that was a little charged.
You are clearly one of my smarter friends. You avoided the call of food as we did this interview. I tried at one point early in the interview.
And you spilled all over yourself.
Rice everywhere.
And I've only, I'm looking over here. I'm not looking at you.
Right.
I saw you, but I saw with my peripheral vision, I'm like...
There was activity on my shirt.
Yes, but then again, I broke things in the car, so that's all that matters. I broke things in your car.
So Daryl, walking into my car, I've got the microphones on these clamps, which I think are used for cameras more often than not. So I've got a clamp on the door, a clamp on the steering wheel. I don't know what he did. He grabbed the neck of the clamp and just snapped it in half.
That was my Hulk-like strength being, exhibited on this thing. I'm like, what is this?
And then he went to get a phone charger from his car, and as he came back in the car, he started to sit down on all of her food.
That was just me being a really klutzy, stupid person. That was all that was. That was nothing.
It's adorable.
It was. I mean, except for when your food is crushed and I'm sitting. I mean, unless you like that flavor. I don't know. That's the thing.
It seems like all the kids are doing that now.
That's the new thing?
That's the new thing.
Oh,
all right, so the new Bollweevils album is Essential. That's Daryl Wilson. Hopefully, after hearing us go song by song, you're at least inspired to give it a shot. Start with the wholesome, family-friendly theme.
Yes.
And go from there.
Oh, God. Yeah, it's a great record. We are so happy to have it come out, and we are proud of it. We stand by it 1,000%. We think it's a great record. And
it is.
I'm glad that you like it too, James. But it is. I can't wait for everybody to hear it. It's coming out on the 5th, and we are happy. We are happy with it.
And they can order through Bandcamp. Is it through Red Scare on Bandcamp?
Red Scare as well.
See, I never was convinced Toby Jegg liked me in the first place. He's never going to like me after this interview. After the ostentatious thing.
You listen, that's, yeah, you can never win this.
Yeah.
You can't win.
One thing about podcasting, Daryl, as we're recording the raw file, we're at like the 54-minute mark. I never know how many people make it to the end. I assume there's some attrition and people fall off. Yeah, and I get that. So I'm totally bearing the lead. Quick programming note on Car Con Carne. Next week on the show, electronic music legend, an inspiration to so many, Gary Newman will be on Car Con Carne.
Here in my car?
little meta. Also next week, Stuart Copeland of The Police.
Oh my God.
Legendary drummer, icon, some big fucking stuff coming up on Car Con Carne next week.
I mean, I just opened that up for you.
Yeah, I mean, from the Bollweevils to Gary Newman to the drummer from The Police.
That's like the trifecta of greatness.
Yeah, I'm clocking out for the rest of May.
Was that ostentatious of me to say that?
It was a little ostentatious.
I think it was.
OSTENTATIOUS.
Ooh, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Daryl, thank you. Now we can eat. I'm going to turn the camera off so we can actually eat in our cone of shame.
We're going to be in a shame cone.
All right. Thank you for listening. Support the Bollweevils. They're back. Essential is the album.
Thank you.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.